Hello, Challenger. I'm happy to see you here again in this Tuesday. And we're going to have another weekly live where we're going to be talking about how to create articles and how to stand out for the job you want. So creating articles is a great way, fantastic way to gain visibility. And it's also one of the most powerful ways to really learn anything you want, because the ultimate way to learn any technical subject is by sharing your knowledge. It could be writing articles, it could be through giving a talk, it could be through a course or through a book, whatever it's you feel that works best for you. Writing articles is the easiest way to start sharing your knowledge. So today we're gonna explore how important it is and how to get started on writing your articles. Like I started writing articles in 2017, and it made a whole difference in my career because people didn't know me, and people started getting to know me after I started writing articles about Java code challenges, design patterns, clean code techniques, and so on. And because I did that, it was a lot easier for me to get jobs because people already knew me. And one of the reasons why developers recommended me here when I arrived in Ireland was because I shared my knowledge and they already knew that I could solve Java problems. I could be a good Java developer for companies because I was sharing my knowledge. So basically, when you share knowledge, you build a reputation, right? And think about it. Why you are here watching me? It's because you want to grow in your career, right? So that's the reason why you are here. And so writing articles is a great strategy in your career because it will help you also to analyze what was your growth. So let's suppose that you start writing articles today, and like after 1 year, you're going to see how many articles you wrote, and you're going to see your learning curve. You're going to see everything you learned. Basically, it's going to be possible to see your growth. So it's a great idea to start writing articles because it's going to make you more visible to get jobs, right? So I'm going to make a quick lab with you later, but let's first explore some important concepts before writing articles. So let's start from this point here, how to write articles. So the first thing is to define what is your audience. Like your audience could be junior developers, could be senior, could be architects, it could be mid-level developers. And you have to decide also what kind of developer. It's Java developer, polyglot developer, it's software engineer in general. So you need to define what is your audience. Like you are sharing knowledge for whom. So if you want to get visibility, usually you have to share your knowledge to other developers who will see you as a high value developer, right? Because when you write articles, you build a reputation, and then people feel encouraged to recommend you for a job because they know you are knowledgeable, right? And you need to know the pain points. So what are the pain points of your audience? So if it's a senior developer, you have to understand what kind of pain points they go through. Are they struggling with security? Are they struggling with, I don't know, performance? Are they struggling with Spring? You have to ask this question to them. You have to understand your audience. If it's a junior developer, you have to know what are their biggest pain points so that you can help them through your articles. And obviously it depends on your strategy because you can define your audience, or you can, even in the beginning, like you don't need to necessarily have an audience. In the beginning, you can simply write articles so that you'll learn whatever you want to get good at. So let's suppose you want to get good with algorithms or system design. Like one option could be to write articles about those things and not necessarily focus on your audience, because really your focus is to learn. But if you want to mix and, like gain visibility and also learn, then it's useful to think about an audience. So you have to write articles strategically for your career, basically. But the thing is that there is no rule, right? So it depends on your strategy, depends on what is your main motivation to write articles. But I can tell you that it will massively help you in your career. It's a great investment in your career and also in your communication skills. You're going to become sharper on your communication skills because remember, to improve your communication skills, you don't need to be speaking. Like your communication skills is basically your ability to organize the information and pass this information to other people in a clear and concise way so that you solve your problem, right? And when you do that, when you write articles, you are basically organizing your ideas and your knowledge and putting it into one article, right? That helps you to solidify your knowledge and also improve your communication skills. And it's even more important if you are a non-English speaker, because this is a great way also to practice the English language, right? And obviously, if you're looking for jobs abroad, you need to write articles in English. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. You have to have a purpose. So what is your objective exactly? Do you want to grow in your career? Do you want to educate? And obviously, when you're educating other people, you're also building visibility. You're also learning something more deeply, or you can challenge a misconception. You can challenge, like, for example, every company wants to use microservices, but this is not necessary for most companies. So you can challenge those things and say, hey, this is the proof that not all the companies need microservices, right? And it's important that you have a certain structure on your articles as well. It's like problem, context, solution, explanation, takeaway, and also keep it readable. Use short paragraphs, bullet lists, and clear code blocks. And if you are writing articles like on any platform, they have those ways to create code blocks that you organize your article in a nice way and it's readable, it's nice to read, it's concise, it's easy to digest. So that's what you want. You want to create an article it's easy to read and easy to consume. And the more you practice that, the sharper you become on your communication skills. Because basically, a good communication skills is basically your ability to communicate concisely. Think about clean code. So if you are able to do clean code, it means that it's very likely that you have good communication skills. Because to write clean code, you need to organize your thoughts in such a way that your code becomes easy to read. And tell stories. So for example, if you have stories, real stories on your articles, that's even better because, with AI, there are lots of articles that are very generic and they don't teach much from experience. So the more real examples you can put on your articles, the better. And, you can improve readability, you can add analogies, and you can use AI for that to improve readability, add analogies, simplify technical terms. And okay, let's talk a little bit about AI with articles. So you can use AI to help you generate an idea. And like I said, there is no rule about the topics you want to write, but you might ask, hey AI, what are the trending topics in the Java ecosystem? And it could be Java 25, it could be LangChain 4J, it could be AI with Java, could be whatever. And like you can do this brainstorming with AI, and then you can write articles about this specific topic. You can also write articles about day-to-day topics, Spring, AWS, APIs, frameworks, Micronaut, whatever the library. And, then you have, so I suggest you to have at least 20 topics so that you can start writing articles. And I want to also ask you to do this little exercise where you write, like I won't say 20 because 20 might be very difficult, but I'll ask you to write at least 10 article titles. And like doesn't need to be now. I'm gonna give you like, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes to write them. And then I'm gonna give you feedback on your titles. And you can use AI for that as well. Just make sure that you create titles that you would feel motivated to write the articles, okay? And, draft structure and outline. And you can even use AI, and you can create sections such as intro, body, and conclusion. And AI is super useful to enhance your text. So let's suppose you have some notes and the grammar is not correct and there are lots of issues. It's okay. You dump all your notes and then you ask AI to make it better. So AI is extremely good on that. And you can use AI for proofreading as well and tone of voice. You can tell AI what is your tone of voice when you're writing articles. And obviously combine your knowledge with AI, because only dump information from AI, this is not enough. You need to put effort and you need to revise all the text from AI so that you make sure that your article is very nice. And like I said, never copy and paste blindly from AI. Always add your expertise. You have to combine your ideas and your experience with AI. Only using AI won't help you with anything, because it won't help you on your communication skills. It won't help you to gain visibility, because people will notice. If your article is very AI obvious, people will notice and you won't get any credit. So you have to always combine your knowledge and experience, and then you can create a very nice article. And how to come up with titles using AI. So you can simply ask AI, generate 10 catchy titles for an article about your focus, right? And then you can, I don't know, your focus could be about performance, it could be about scalability, it could be about security, it could be about Java, could be about Spring, AWS, I don't know, whatever you feel passionate about. Because even if you choose one technology to go deep, there will be lots of articles. Imagine how many articles you can create only about Java. Maybe, infinite. There's so many classes in Java that, in Spring, the same thing. In Spring, you can create, I don't know, so many articles. AWS, imagine how many articles you can create only about AWS. So your focus could be about specific problem you solve for companies. Could be that your focus is reducing bugs from applications. And that was my focus beforehand. Previously, it was my focus was to decrease bugs from companies. So I was sharing content only about that. Also create SEO optimized titles. And you might be wondering, okay, Rafael, what's SEO? It's search engine optimization. So basically, if you use those SEO techniques, you're going to be able to have more readers for your articles. For example, what would be a bad title? It would be how streams work in Java. So this is a bad title because it doesn't intrigue anything. But if you write an article that way instead, 5 stream mistakes even senior Java developers make, that's intriguing, right? I feel curious to open this article and read this article. So this is a lot better than, oh, how streams work in Java. How streams work in Java? Every developer, almost the vast majority of Java developers know how streams work. But if you intrigue them and say 5 stream mistakes even senior Java developers make, then I would be very curious. I would say, oh, stream mistakes that even senior developers make? I'm curious. I want to see what are those mistakes. It's different. So the title makes all the difference, right? And when the title is too vague, it's going to be ignored. And too detailed, it's going to be boring, right? So you have to have this balance between, having an impactful title and has to be a title that people are interested in. And, you can test multiple title tones. So it has to be informative, right? Well, actually, you can test, right? You can test about, having an informative title, understanding Java 21 records, or it could be actionable. Actually prefer more actionable titles. Like actionable would be master Java 21 records in 10 minutes. Like I prefer something actionable because then your audience, they have something that they will know how to do. They will know how to perform. Controversial and curious. I also like this one. You could say why most developers misuse Java records. I would be super curious to understand why developers misuse records. So on your articles, always create a title that will draw attention from your audience. Don't write boring titles and like don't write too much information. Yeah, don't write like those titles that say the obvious. Write an article that will intrigue your audience. Like this is very intriguing, right? And use SEO words, and AI can vastly help you with that. AI can extract relevant keywords so that you can help your audience. And you can also run A/B tests. So what is that? It's basically so you send one title for 1% of your audience, and you send the other title to the other percentage of your audience, and you see what title works best. And I also highly recommend you that you create your own focus phrase. And this is quite difficult to create, so don't put a lot of pressure on you, because I remember when I was to create this focus phrase to me, it took me a while. I sent it to you here on the Zoom chat, and feel free to create it. You don't need to create it now, because I remember when I was creating this focus phrase, it took me like almost 1 month to create it. So don't deceive yourself. Don't think that this is an easy thing. It's quite difficult to define your focus, because usually when you define your focus, like you will stick to it at least for 1 year, I don't know, or maybe 6 months. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to have your focus. Like from time to time, yes, you're gonna change your focus, but that's why it's so difficult to make decisions, because you're gonna stick to it for a while. So you have to have a balance here. Don't need to be so afraid to make a decision, but you can't also rush on making a decision here, because basically you need to say here, I help audience, and it could be junior Java developers, it could be senior Java developers, to do something with your solution. And your solution could be that you solve scalability problems, or you enhance performance from applications, or you make applications more secure so that developers are not very stressful in their projects, right? It could be anything, right? So I'm gonna show you mine so that you understand it more clearly. So basically my focus now is to help intermediate and senior Java developers to work abroad and earn top salaries. That's my main focus, and that's why I create specific content to help my audience, right? So, and you can choose your own audience as well. And how to define focus to write art. So you need to know your identity. So what are you? So are you a tech writer, a Java educator, a code storyteller, a career mentor? Well, that's my case. I'm a career mentor. But you have to decide. So basically, for you who are focusing on your career, you need to, well, usually you would go to this category, because you're going to be writing usually for other developers, because the developers are the ones who will recommend you for a job, right? So, and not only them, like you're going to be writing articles for recruiters as well, or for engineering managers, and they will read your articles and they will see, oh, okay, oh, this person is very knowledgeable. This person wrote articles about scalability, about microservices, about Kafka. This person knows a lot, right? So usually for most of you here who are interested in growing your career, it's going to be this category, tech writer. And you can, like I said, you can pick a niche. Like if you pick JVM internals, you can easily write more than 20 articles. Like you can write a book, right? There's so much information about the JVM. Spring Boot, the same thing. Migration to Java 21. Like you could choose this focus. You could choose, hey, I'm gonna focus my articles on the migration of Java 5 to Java 25. And I'm gonna teach you how to migrate an old Spring application to Java 25. You can write an article about that, super useful. And define 3 to 5 ongoing themes. And, it could be like, it could be 3 technologies. Or it could be like something related to your focus. Like, for example, if you're helping developers to write more maintainable code, to write clean code so that they have fewer bugs, you could write one article about design patterns. You could write another article about low coupling and high cohesion. You could write content about dependency injection, why using framework is important. I don't know, it could be lots of topics, right? It could be about the CI/CD culture, why it's important to have a CI/CD culture. Could be many things. And depth is bigger than breadth. So one specific concept explained deeply beats a buzzword solid. So it's better to explain something that like more deeply instead of only throwing buzzwords. And also, it's cool to have focused questions before you're writing an article. So you can ask yourself, okay, what's the single takeaway for my reader? What's the single takeaway from my audience? What is the problem that I'm solving? What do I want the reader to do next? So basically, what do I want the reader to do next is your call to action. So this is famously called call to action. Also, it's called as CTA. And it's what I do with you here, guys. When you are in this weekly live, I always encourage you to take a next step, right? And a simple next step is to download the mind map. I'm going to be sharing the form with you. I'm going to be sharing the weekly live form, and then you can download the mind map, and then you can get access to all this information. And I highly encourage you as well. There is a field there on the form of the weekly live, and I am saving some blocks on my time to have career diagnosis conversation with you. So basically in this conversation, I'm going to help you identify what are the gaps for you to reach your next career level. This career diagnosis is specifically designed for intermediate and senior Java developers who are looking to grow in their careers. So I highly recommend you to, if you say yes in the form, I will reach out to you. Yeah, just to make you aware that I'm doing a one-on-one call to help you identify what are your career gaps, right? So I'm gonna send the form to you in the end of this weekly live, so stay tuned. And you will also be able to download the weekly live, download the mind map. Okay, guys, so let's go to this part. Ideas to get started and stay consistent. So when you're writing articles, it's very important that you stay consistent, right? Let me just make sure that I didn't skip any. Yeah, so how can you get started? So basically you can write about something that you learned or fixed. So for example, on a day-to-day job, I'm pretty much sure that you face some situation that you can share with everyone else. So why not creating an article about this concept you learned on a day-to-day job? That will be very helpful for other developers. And you can also review open source code, and you can write an article about that, and you can even share comparison posts. So you can compare Spring Boot with Micronaut, or you can compare Quarkus with Micronaut, or you can compare Java with Python. You can compare Java with Kotlin, or Java with Clojure, Java with Golang, whatever the programming language you want. And you can do benchmarks. You can test what programming language is more performant. You can test what programming language spends more electric energy, for example. This is a subject that is getting trendy. You can see in many conferences, and this is getting more and more important. It's about making sure that the programming language will spend less electricity, because think about it, like in how many machines Java runs an application? It's a lot, right? And if you can make your programming language more efficient to spend less electricity, that will make a big impact in the world, right? So comparing programming languages, comparing frameworks, comparing, I don't know, programming practice, comparing architectures, you can compare many things in an article. And use writing systems. So maintain a backlog from every idea you have. So if you have an idea to I don't know, write an article about that problem you solved, or if you just had an idea, just take a note. You can use Notion, you can use Trello, Google Sheets, and capture small ideas and turn them into articles, right? And one other important thing to say about articles is that you can turn an article into a talk. You can turn many articles into a book, and you can have your own book on EPUB. You can publish a book for free nowadays. It's so easy to publish a book nowadays, right? And you can ask AI to help you to suggest some ideas for articles. And you can ask, yeah, definitely use AI for help to come up with ideas to write articles or to help you with an initial draft of your article as well. And it's important that you decide first how often you're going to deliver your article, because it's a lot better that you decide to write an article every 2 weeks and you deliver it, instead of saying, oh, I'm going to deliver one article every week. And then you do that for 1 month and then you give up. So to make your blog successful, to make your visibility create a real impact, you need to be consistent. And I know that sometimes you're gonna have to write articles even when you don't feel like it, and that's hard because you're gonna have to basically conquer your mind, right? Conquer your emotions, and you have to write it anyway. But I can tell you that this is worth it. If you are consistent on your plan, you're gonna reap results. You're gonna get results. And you're gonna get access to the best jobs, to the best salaries. And when you get the best salaries, the best jobs, your life becomes easier, right? And celebrate milestones. So if you completed 5, 10, 20 articles, celebrate. I don't know, you can have a nice meal with your family. You can do something you like. It could be anything. And also share your work publicly for feedback. And, that will keep you motivated to write more articles. And by the way, I give you feedback on the Channel Developer Mentorship, and I can help you with that. And the workflow example is that you can ask AI to brainstorm article ideas in your niche. Like I said, your niche could be about performance, scalability, could be about specific technology, could be about Java. So a long time I've been sharing articles, sharing knowledge only about Java. So I was sharing content only about Java code challenges so that you could learn Java features more quickly and having fun with code challenges. So your focus could be about one technology you love. Just be careful to not focus on the technology that you're very comfortable with, and then you forget the other technologies that would take you to another level as a software engineer. But basically pick one niche and define what problem you're going to solve. And then you write the article draft manually. You use AI for refinement and formatting. You can also ask AI to create 3 or 5 titles. Then you publish, reflect. You can even ask AI to be your reviser, right? You can ask AI to revise your whole article to see if all the information there is concise, it is precise, it is correct. Obviously, you analyze your article yourself as well. Don't fully rely on AI because they make mistakes all the time. And also decide how often you're going to deliver an article. It's going to be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. So decide what you're going to do. So when you're creating articles, you can also create an article that is shorter, and you can also create a super detailed article. And on those super detailed articles, you can simply create one article a month. Like if it's the super article, like with, I don't know, more than 20 pages, or if it's an article with lots of information, it's okay to write one article a month. Sometimes it's better to rely on quality rather than, just delivering. Obviously, you have to have a balance. It's very important that you develop consistency before reaching a high level of quality, because to develop your level of quality by writing articles, sharing your knowledge in general, you need to do it first. That's the only way, right? So don't wait until you're perfect because you'll never be. So keep that in mind. And let's do a quick lab. So we have still 15 minutes. So let me just give you some information here. Okay. Yeah, this is a mini framework for you to write articles. So first the hook. So it could be about a relatable problem from your audience. Then you describe what usually developers get wrong. You give some explanation and some code, deep dive, actionable takeaway, and always challenge the reader. And I'm going to challenge you to start writing articles here as well. And, I recommend you starting from LinkedIn because it's the easiest and it's the place where you're going to get direct visibility for jobs because LinkedIn is the place to get jobs, right? So I recommend you to start in the easiest place. There's no barrier. You don't need to create your own blog. Just start creating articles on LinkedIn. That's the easiest. And, ask AI for the best SEO titles. If you don't know what's SEO, it's search engineering optimization, so that you help the search engineering tools like Google to find your article more easily. And, you can share your articles on Java communities as well. We can do a mini demo and keep the post between 800 to 1,500 words. And like I said, being consistent is a lot better than sporadic bursts. So it's useless if you write lots of articles in 1 month and then you give up. That won't help you at all in your career. You will only have results if you are able to decide, okay, I'm gonna write articles every 2 weeks. Then you decide it and you stick to it for at the very least 6 months. And then if you say, hey, like after 6 months, that's a lot of work. Or you might say after 6 months, you might say, hey, I actually can deliver 1 article a week. And, that was my goal for a long time. I've been writing 1 article every week for, I don't know, maybe 5 years, a long time. And nowadays, my commitment is to create this weekly live with you every week, right? It's a weekly live. That's my commitment to deliver content. And I do some extra stuff, but like from time to time, I'm also writing articles. But my main commitment nowadays is to create this video with you here. And it's fine. Like from time to time, your focus will change. Like articles is a great way for you to gain visibility and also to share your expertise. So now let's do a quick lab. So I'm gonna tell you guys to create at least 10 titles, and you can use AI for that. And like the titles could be about anything. Could be about Spring, it could be about Java, it could be about security, clean code. So I'm gonna ask you guys to write at least 10 titles and also to create an outline, a rough draft using this structure. First, the introduction, and I'm gonna, you can see here on the screen, we have only 12 minutes. So basically your goal is, I'm gonna write here, to write 10 article titles, define how often you will need. Okay, now let's start easy. Okay, so only 10 article titles and 1 article outline. And I'll give you feedback, okay? You can write on a Google Docs, then you can share with me, and then I will share here with everyone, and then I'm gonna give you feedback. And you have around 5 minutes. Great, thank you so much. Battle of the Java Titans, I like it, that's nice. I like Titans. Okay, so let's see. Okay, great. Battle of the Java Titans, cloud, comparing cloud native readiness in Quark. Nice. Cloud native Java frameworks. I like your focus about cloud computing. That's what the companies are looking for. Yeah, Quarkus, Micronaut, and Spring Boot. That's so nice. Java frameworks, technical comparison, evaluating cloud native readiness in modern Java. Very good. From startup time to memory footprint, measuring cloud native efficiency. Yeah, I can see that your focus is clearly about cloud applications and microservices. Cloud native, Clash, Ken Quarkus or Micronaut, Death Throne, Spring Boot. Yeah, that's intriguing. I would be curious to read this article. Java frameworks go head to head. Who wins the cloud native slowdown? Quarkus, Micronaut, and Spring compete for Java's future. Okay, breaking down the cloud native race in Java. The strengths of Quarkus, Micronaut, and Spring. Choosing your cloud native champion, Quarkus, Micronaut, or Spring Boot. Yeah, those are excellent topics. Considering the time, I know that it's not easy to create it. The only feedback I have to you, Ricardo, is to change a little bit your articles, because it seems that all of your articles are comparing Quarkus, Micronaut, and Spring. And it could be that the complexity to write those articles would be quite high, depending on the topic here. Like those topics, I like them. I would just make them a little bit more different. But, just to show you as an example that it's possible to create article titles like in 5 minutes, like Ricardo did. And, with the help of AI, it's even easier, right? And okay, so Ricardo created the cloud native imperative. So yeah, this is a quick, this is the outline of the article. Explain cloud native, mention the rise of modern technologies, the three titans, Spring Boot, Quarkus, and Micronaut, background, the evolution of frameworks. Why did we have those frameworks? That's very interesting. What does cloud native readiness mean? That's super cool, a nice topic, because most people don't really know what means cloud native. So this is super framework by framework analysis. Yeah, like I said, this could be, yeah, if it's just a summary, it's okay. It's easier. But if you're going to write, well, obviously, if you're going to write everything about all frameworks, it would be multiple books, right? So we have to be very specific in our articles to not make them too long, because when the article is too long, usually people don't read. That's okay. But I really like it. It's very detailed. Yeah, the comparison about them. Yeah, real world scenarios. That's excellent. Like this could be a good example, Ricardo, of that super article. This article could take, like from what I see here, it could take easily 15 pages, which is not necessarily bad. The only thing is that it would be difficult to keep consistency of delivering one article of that level every week. So if you choose to write more in-depth articles like that, I would suggest you to at least, write a bi-weekly article, because we have 9 to 5 jobs and we have our personal lives. So to write an article that is very complex and with a lot of information, it might take a while. Even if you use AI, because you're going to have to revise the article, you're going to have to, so you want to deliver something nice, right? So when you want to deliver something nice, it will take a while, right? So guys, okay, I only have time to analyze one article. I will keep your link and I might revise. Yeah, I will revise that. And if you please reach out to me on WhatsApp, I'm gonna give you the feedback. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for participating and creating our article and for challenging yourself. And also congratulations for being here and, focusing on your career and learning more about how to become a better software engineer. And that's it. Thank you so much. And I hopefully will see you next Tuesday at 10 p.m. London time. Okay. So I'll see you then. Cheers.